According to Wikipedia, microdosing is defined as a technique for studying the behavior of drugs in humans through the administration of doses so low they are unlikely to produce whole body effects, but high enough to allow a cellular response. That's a pretty good definition. But I would say it's basically just taking such a low dose of a drug, in this case psychedelics, that you barely feel it, but still get the positive or negative effects from it. People, including myself, have reported having eye-opening and insightful experiences while microdosing. It's not something that somebody does to dive really deep in themselves like the Terrence McKenna heroic dose, but it's mostly used in everyday life by everyday people. Taking a small amount of LSD or psilocybin in the morning with breakfast for a few days has been shown to give people a more positive outlook on life, more energy, and just overall positive changes with just small amounts of psychedelics.
You know, what's really incredible is that people are using psilocybin these days in what they call microdosing, taking very small doses and seeing these profound benefits.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm aware of is kickboxers are using it. And kickboxers are using it, and a good buddy of mine is using it, who says that he can see things happen before they happen. Like, it's almost like he's reading people's minds before they're about to do something.
Even on microdoses.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
In the intense environment of sparring and in the intense physical kinetic interaction of kickboxing, is that he's seeing what people are going to do before they do it in a way that he's never able to do.
As of recently, microdosing has become popular not only with the psychedelic community, but also for the everyday 9-to-5 guy, the musician, the artist, even the Silicon Valley tech guys, sports athletes, and so much more. But before it was the new way to trip, it was actually being used by the man himself, Dr. Albert Hoffman. He microdosed for at least the last couple decades of his life. Hoffman lived to be 102 and was still giving 2-hour-long lectures until the last couple years of his life. He said that he would mainly microdose when he was walking in trees, and it would clarify his thinking. So Hoffman was the first person who introduced this to many people. And he also said that this was a very under-researched area. And until recently, there really hasn't been much research, if any at all, about the effects of microdosing. Until lately, I really didn't even know it was a thing. I've been microdosing for years and I didn't even realize it. I've mentioned it in past videos and talked about how I eat a small amount of mushrooms throughout the night at a music festival, and it can be one of the most beautiful, clean, psychedelic experiences a person can have. It's like my favorite thing to do at music festivals. But it's only recently that I've actually seen the benefits of it in everyday life. I've had the same 4 or so grams of mushrooms for a while now, and without even realizing microdosing was a thing, I've been taking little nibbles here and there and legitimately microdosing without knowing it. I've seen my thoughts clear up, and I've seen it basically cure writer's block at times. It's helped me with not only creativity, but even patience and understanding. It's been amazing, and it's really cheap.
So I was talking a couple months ago to a guy named Neil Goldsmith, who has written a couple books about psychedelics. And we were talking about microdosing. And he was saying how, a high dose is like, you drink ayahuasca, or you take 300 micrograms of LSD, or, you do the Terrence McKenna thing where you take 5 grams of dried magic mushrooms in a dark room. And it's a really, really intense experience. And he basically said it's like you're getting yelled at and shaken. Yeah, yelled at and shaken, and someone's like saying, get the message, blah, 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 blah. But with microdoses, he's like, it's just a little whisper, right? It's like a little whisper. It's like a little reminder here and there of kind of what you need to be aware of and what you need to be reminded of and what you need to be thinking of. And I think this is largely why more and more people are becoming interested in it, because people don't like to be yelled at. People don't like to have their entire world turned upside down.
Being able to microdose is not something I would say that a lot of people can do, or even would want to do. In my experience, it's pretty rare to meet people who take psychedelics to actually learn from them and not to just trip balls and be stupid. But for those who are interested in that, microdosing is amazing, and once you have enough experience, it can be just as good, if not better, than taking a full dose. A man named Dr. James Fadiman has recently begun examining the effects of microdosing. Fetterman has been collecting the self-reported testimonies of hundreds of people from around the world who have microdosed and saw benefits in everything to stuttering issues, social anxiety, depression, addiction, PTSD, ADHD, even things as simple as improvement in productivity and writer's block. Fetterman recommends taking one microdose, roughly about 10 to 20% of a normal dose, on a regular schedule. He recommends in the morning once every 3 days. The dose isn't enough to trip, but for some people it can lead to subtle yet profound experiences and changes within themselves. There are so many benefits of microdosing, it's hard to list them all. There are hundreds of accounts of great things happening to people who have tried it, and that list is getting bigger every day. Can it be dangerous? Of course. Anytime we use a tool as powerful as psychedelics, it can be dangerous. From people who microdose maybe too much and lose sight of the positives, to those who think they're microdosing but really don't know how and do too much, it's definitely not something to try without experience or the help of someone with experience. I'm a strong believer in the power of psychedelics, and I really hope that with the concept of microdosing becoming so popular that maybe the world can begin to accept the therapeutic use of psychedelics. But we'll see.